Hello and welcome to another Demostrate tutorial. This video we are going to look at percussion. I'm going to show you how I've shaped some of the sounds using a few different tools. So let's just have a listen to where it's sitting right now. Okay, so at the moment, because we've got really dry synths on the top, this hat loop seems to really sit right on top of it and have a really central view of the track. It's not panned out and wide enough. We do have a synth there, but I'm just working on picking the right sound and kind of generating the right thing. So it's muted at the moment, and this is the drum loop. Alright, so first things first, let's just have a look at battery. So I've just imported these samples here. I'm using OTT compressor here just to bring out a little bit of crispiness in them, so let's just listen to it out. Okay, so just to bring out that little bit of crispiness in there, and then it's just controlled with conveyor compression. It's kind of a go-to compressor now for just quick and simple compression. Yeah, just to control it. So that's where that lies at the moment. There's no drum bus or anything, but to get the general rhythm I had to add in this loop here. Okay, and what we've got going on here is we start with FabFilter. So I was just having to mess around with the mid and side channels and just cutting some areas out that I didn't want. It was a little bit too in your face. Didn't like the EQ on that clap. So I've made it a little bit more top heavy. So what I've done is I've just pushed a side channel out overall. There's a little boost here, and then this is an actual EQ boost here. Just to get that crispy bit out of there without going too over the top on that section there. All right. Sorry, I have a keyboard in front of me which keeps clicking this magic mouse. Right, so that is FabFilter, and I've obviously cut the bass information off there. Right, the interesting thing is I've used Glitch here to use the distortion tool like I did in the synth area. I've put the distortion on each clap and just shaped the distortion to how I wanted it on the drive. The mix knob is fully up on there, and then we've got the reverse effect, and we've also got lo-fi, which I've turned the mix down on it and just kind of tuned it to where I want it to be. So let's just have a listen to that. So are you ready to hear the clap without glitch? So it loses that energy, but this distortion tool is kind of bringing back what I've cut out, but into the shape that I want. So it's just to give it a little bit of a difference than just importing it and leaving it as it was. Then I've got an exciter on here, just to crispy up them top ends. And then I've just rolled off again because we've got some information that's come back in, so just to get rid of that. There's a little bit of a frequency there. Clap is very loud, so I've just reduced the volume because we've already got a clap in there, so I don't want too much information going from there. And then just room works just to give it a bit of space. Alright, so we want to push it out in the mix a little bit more. It's very central, it's sat on the top. So the first thing I'll go to is center stereo. So there we are. Now what we want to do is just stop the track. So we've got punch highs and lows. So the lows I'm not going to bother about because we don't really have any. So the highs, I'm going to push them out to the sides a little bit. So we'll just start at 3 o'clock there. And punch will also start at 3 o'clock. Right, so we don't want to really necessarily move the center frequencies around. We want to kind of enhance the sides. So I'm just going to drag this up so you can hear exactly what this slider is doing. Okay, so it's getting rid of all that side information where your reverb, your delay, everything sits. So now we can bring it out by just turning it above the 0 mark. We can have just the outer information, but we want some of that detail in there. Alright, so if we just chuck the highs to the centre, you can just about hear the highs shifting from the centre to the outer edges in the headphones. So just before 3 o'clock sounds okay. And the punch, listen to the clap mainly. So I'm going to have that fairly high, we'll have that at 4 o'clock. Alright, so what we have now is this. We've gone from a centre kind of driven sound to a little bit more on the edges to make it just sit in a bit nicer. It's a bit more spread out. It's not so uptight in that centre region. So let's just bypass everything on this channel just to see what I started with. Okay, so now we've made it our own. There's nothing wrong with using samples as long as you can manipulate them and make them fit into your track sonically. It will work every time, and they're always a really good source of inspiration as well to get a rhythm idea that you necessarily wouldn't have, because if you believe the previous tutorial, we just had that hat and that's all we had, just to kind of keep that pace of offbeat going, and then it just needs that. And then I'll layer another hat layer on top of that from battery, just to probably give it a rolling hat feel for in the main sections here. So let's just take a listen to what it sounds like in the full section when everything's up at full volume. Bear in mind that this is not a final completed track. So you can hear that clap clearly. If we just bypass here, gives it a little bit more presence and makes it sound longer. And then in this quiet section here, like it was at the beginning, it has a nice sound. So there's a few bits in here that need to be added into the track to make it a little bit more energetic, but we're nearly there. And then here, it's exactly the same, I think, here. Okay, so that is a look at the percussion in this track, just to show you that you can use various tools at your disposal. Like glitch is really good for enhancing claps. I could use the modulator to enhance the offbeat hats. You can use it for all sorts. It doesn't just have to be used as a glitch machine to make everything stutter and glitchy. Just use various tools. Like you can see, I always use the built-in reverb. It's not the best sounding thing, but it gets the job done until I get hold of some more reverbs to review. So that is the end of this tutorial. So if you did like it, give us a like and drop a comment below and let me know what you thought of the tutorial. Especially if there's things that you don't agree with as well. Go ahead and just let me know, and we obviously can use the comments to chat away and resolve some probably unanswered questions that have come from this tutorial. Alright, so I will see you in the next video. See you later.